Well, here we are once again in a new land, this time being Paysus, and we've got some jobs to do. Well, might as well get cracking. Well, now, this is a bit of a change of pace. We actually have a mystery on our hands, gang. Also, before we get started, word of caution. I would save before taking this job on, as once you're inside, you won't be getting out until you're finished. So, word of warning. So apparently somebody at the library decided to rip a page out, causing damage to public property. While Lutz might not think it to be much of a big deal, as shown here, for a library, it is a huge deal that should be taken very seriously. And quite honestly, I can quite understand that. So the manager has gathered suspects and is wanting you to figure out who the culprit was. So it's time to don the Sherlock cap and pipe, or if you want to put it in a different way, get your Miles Edgeworth game face on as we investigate each person's alibi. Before we get started, I just wanted to point out something really quick. We all know how much of a klutz he could be. But in this job here, it goes way beyond the level of klutz, and I mean, my God. Are you for real here, Lutz? Does he even pay attention half the time? Anyways, moving on. Culpuni is a student from the Spell Institute and a huge fan of Marcia. He often comes by to study and hopes he can be just as good as her someday. His alibi is this. Upon arriving, he passed by a scary gang-looking guy named Gants. He also bumped into someone on the way out, but doesn't know who. Only that he didn't see a kid named Yonan. Supposedly he's a regular, which struck him as odd for not being there for some reason. Mular is the head librarian that usually closes up shop at night. Makes sense that he would have access to the book in question as well. I personally don't feel he's involved with this at all. His alibi goes, he got there late due to a quote-unquote personal matter, and thinks Gants had something to do with it. He bumped into somebody, but doesn't know who it was. He was also the last one out since he closed shop that day. Silva is a monk of the Amidar Temple. It's only natural that he would come to train the mind as part of his practices. I highly doubt he would do such a thing like tear a page from a book, given to how committed he is, especially to Archmonk Iga. Another fanboy? Anyways, his alibi goes, when he got to the library, it was closed. The librarian wasn't there, so the manager had to let him in. He bumped into someone on the way out, but doesn't know who. Am I sensing a trend here? Only that it wasn't the gang member Gants. Now we come to him. Since most of the others seem to get a strange vibe from him, it's understandable to think that he could have something to do with it. Not a very bright person either. His alibi. When he arrived, he remembers seeing an annoying kid wearing glasses. Sounds like he saw Yonan. But he doesn't remember who he bumped into on the way out. Only that it wasn't the monk, as he would have remembered him. A kid that seems to like coming by to read quite often. Apparently knows of Alex's recent endeavors with the academy. Claims to have too much studying time going on, though he does seem to know a bit more about the book in question than others do. He even gives a very peculiar description about tearing out a picture showing a princess and her retainers. For someone that seems to know about the page being torn out, he seems to know a lot more about it than the others did. Very strange. Yes. His alibi. When he arrived, he saw someone that looked like a gang member. When he left, he passed by Mular the librarian, and he never saw the monk at all. Once you've interviewed all suspects, head down to talk with the manager again. We might have a bit more of an idea of who the culprit is, but first, we need to study more on what we know. There do seem to be some inconsistencies. One of those 5 are obviously fibbing quite a bit. Okay, fib nothing, they're lying. So now we turn to what's called here an alibi inspection. How this works? Each character in your party plays one of the suspects and recounts what their alibi is. You would then match up the order for who came in first to last. Since the monk came by when it was closed before having to be let in, we can conclude that he was actually the first person there, according to Morzet the manager himself. Also, since the librarian was the one that had to close up shop, we can also conclude that he was the last one there. So, now it just boils down to the remaining 3 and what order they go in. I will admit up front, this can really get tricky here. Not to mention the fact that if you point out the wrong culprit, you automatically fail. Even if you do find the right one out of sheer dumb luck, you still have to try to prove it or you don't get full credit here. There is, however, a way you can tell whether or not you may have the orders right. You just have to pay attention to what they say with what position they're in. If they don't feel it's right, chances are it's not, and you can simply ask to reorder them again as much as it takes. However, that being said, the one taking the role of Yonan, Theo in this case, does not fit anywhere in the order, no matter where you put him. Even if Lutz or Gants and Cheryl or Culpuni are in the right order, as I put Theo, Yonan, Lutz, Gants, and Cheryl Culpuni in that order, something about Yonan's story doesn't match up. So what does that tell us? That either Yonan has to be the culprit, or that he knows more than he's letting on. Once you are ready to reveal the culprit, call everyone down and have Alec pull a complete Phoenix Wright and figure out the perpetrator of the crime. Of course, he tries to talk himself out of it before Marcia decides to step up and clears everything up. Kinda like how Mia Fey would do it. Strange. Once the jig is up and Yonan finally confesses, he's given a choice whether to face serious charges or become a library monitor. I think it's obvious what he picks. And all is well once again. The case is solved mostly thanks to Marcia. Not only is she gifted in magic, but she would make a good attorney as well. Bandits by a lake? Oh god, no. No, 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 no. Fuck! These douchebags again. Don't they ever learn? And now they have an assistant who apparently wanted nothing to do with them at first until she kinda gets forced into it and now is willing to stay with them? Huh? I'm not making any sense here, but whatever, let's just get this over with. Wow. They actually have someone that's much higher level than the rest of these idiots here. And they still suck! Just throw your strongest attacks at them and wipe the battlefield clean, please. After the fight, they still refuse to give up and go train the mountains to fight another day. Oh god, why? Why? Really, I don't want to fight these idiots anymore. Please, why must I? Ooh, money. Well, I guess you do get something out of it for doing so. Okay, so a guy named Goose, really? Someone named him Goose? Seems to have lost his dog Artie, and is really worried about him. He offers to go along with you to try and find him throughout the area, starting with Romastor River. Goose gets worried that Artie might have fallen into the river and almost slips in himself, before Cheryl steps up to stop him. Not long after, monsters show up. Be wary of the paralysis that the myconids can do to your party, as well as some nasty damage. Other than that, blow them away with Force Ring or Impulse Bomb. Try and Kardish one of them if you haven't got one yet. After the fight, Goose decides that maybe Artie isn't here and runs off to the Amidar Temple path. Now, if I didn't know any better, I'd say he's leading us on a wild... Okay, no, that's too easy. Goose is looking around frantically and almost slips in a crack in the ground before Cheryl has to pull him out. Guy's freaking crazy. Then more monsters show up. If you have to heal, do so, since any damage you took from the last fight will carry over. Crystal Gargoyles have an ability that makes themselves immune to physical attacks for a turn or two. Really annoying. Try to kill them as quick as possible. Silence may help you out here as well. Goose then decides to try one more place where he first met Artie, the Kyoyan Forest. Cheryl's just about had enough of this and wants to call it quits. Alec, however, is willing to at least give him one more try. I mean, as they say, third time's a charm, right? The party arrives and looks to see where Goose is. He suddenly appears out of the trees, but with no luck finding the dog, of course. And as if right on cue, more monsters. Again, be careful of the paralysis from these guys and lay waste to them quickly. Goose finally decides that it was time to head back home. He felt terrible about putting the group through all that danger and decides that maybe he's better off without Artie. Aw, don't say that, man. With the group feeling guilty, they decide to head back and check on Goose. Upon arriving back in the restaurant, they hear a commotion from upstairs as the innkeeper gets on Goose's case for letting that dog tear up the carpet. Wait. You mean to tell me that all this time, this whole time, running around, he's been upstairs in a closet? I can just imagine Cheryl right now. Well, this job's done. Let's go get our bounty. Damn it, why did that puppy have to be cute? Marcia's mentor Salubari wishes to borrow the scroll from his teacher, the Earth Wizard Doan, and would like some help in getting it. Okay, fair enough. After telling you where you can find him, you start to set off for him, but Marcia finds it rather strange as to why we're being sent and not him. It's not really that strange, I don't think. I mean, it's just a simple little errand run, isn't it? At the mountain peak, the wizard speaks to you in a rather ancient-like tongue, but nobody can seem to understand him well. Really? I kind of could. I mean, I may not speak it, but I could tell what he's saying quite easily, in fact. Well, maybe one or two words seem kind of weird, but you get my point. He'll then ask you a series of questions before he can lend you the scroll. Oh, okay. That seems simple enough. Oh, right, of course. Don't worry about debating on what you answer. As it turns out, it's a complete waste of time to begin with. Then why bother asking if the answers don't matter? This guy's freaking nuts! He does give you an actual challenge of collecting all talismans hidden in these treasure boxes while fighting these monsters. Okay, I can't believe I'm going to say this. Try to go easy on these guys, as part of the challenge here requires you to get all 5 talismans before the last monster is killed. While I hope at this point the monsters themselves don't give you trouble, a bigger concern would be accidental counterattacks from Alec or Marcia. Once you complete the challenge, Stone gives you the scroll and sends you back to the Institute. The talismans are also yours to keep, by the way. Yay! And that pretty much wraps up another job. Come back next time as we take on a job that will require some thorough research. See you then.